was gonna call you on my way back from UPS when my cousin called me. You're gonna get called tomorrow, Eric. Into the principal's office. We should have some cool ones today. You won't get to see a square blank rounded. Freaking hot. I don't know how hot it is in Louisiana, but 100 degrees in the shop right now. But it's only 47% humidity, so it's a little bearable. Wait for a couple more people to trickle on in. I missed the Monday live. I just had the worst migraine of my life that has apparently turned into some kind of a throat, coffee, phlegmy, blah 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 kind of deal. So, but we're gonna tough it today. What's up, Wes? What's up, Juan? We got some cool ones today, though. Some firsts that haven't been seen on the channel for sure. We have got. I've had the design for a while for some honeycombs, but I've been trying to figure out a better way to do them as opposed to just 3D printing a honeycomb and then casting. That's kind of the easy way. I finally made my own kind of negative mold for it to make some like actual resin honeycombs. So this one is the first go with it. That is Yeti comb. And then if somebody wants to put the rabbit signal up, he might get a kick out of this one. That is a Raider comb. So that's going to be silver and black. Damn, Eric. That sucks. So we got that one. I had other ones. Let's see what else. Oh, we got this one. This is like a Jedi Master Yoda blank right here. So this one is pretty cool. So we might get into that one. I got a void core over here too, but I don't know. We'll just kind of see. Yeah, I was trying to think of. I didn't want to just do yellow and black wand for honeycomb. I wanted to do something a little different. So that one is just a 3D print file cast with resin cast around it. But I figured silver and black goes really well together, obviously for Raiders. So we're gonna see what we get into with that one. So without further ado, what y'all think we should go with first? The Yeti comb or Raider comb? I'm gonna let y'all marinate on that, and I'm gonna hit the stain real quick. I really don't prefer doing square blanks. These do take a bit more resin. So if somebody did want one of these are probably going to be about $5 more than usual. Haven't completely factored in how much extra they would be, but between the 3D print file and then obviously the extra resin that it takes to cast around it, and it just ends up being more wasteful on resin. So I try not to do square blanks unless I absolutely have to. But sometimes with certain effects, you got to do square blanks. So what y'all think? Yeti comb or Raider comb? And I'm gonna slug more water because my voice is not gonna love talking today. We'll grab another one. We have another Yeti comb as well. And a couple future blanks I'll show off too. All right, we got 2 Yeti combs, so we will go ahead and do that. Awesome, thanks Wes. Let me get the camera moved. And now I'm gonna disappear from reading comments. Unless y'all wanna try a different camera angle that might be closer to the, no, we'll just still go with this. So, a couple other blanks we've got coming down the pipe. So this is actually a Yeti comb that is actually a Yeti color blue with white cast in it. So I think this one's gonna look super clean. So we're gonna do that one in another, what's today, Wednesday? We'll probably do that in Friday's live. So that's one coming down the pipe. These are probably the other 2 we'll do in Friday's live. Just some more marbling kind of pours, kind of going for some different effects and just playing around with some things. This is like a color shifting, like yellow, green, blue, with some black marbling and then almost like a glowing kind of like gold resin. What's up, Rabbit? This one, I'm pretty excited for how the blank turned out. This is not a molten pour, but it is an orange that I might revisit in the future for a molten pour. This is one of the more expensive micas that I've talked about in the past. And then the same deal with like some black marbling. And then also some of that same kind of gold that's in that other one. Just kind of playing around with that. That particular shade of gold serves really well offsetting like different shades, and particularly on like a dark background like a black, and then contrasting on like a semi-dark like that orange, and it really almost serves as like a white contrasting kind of color. Oh, awesome, Mike. I kind of read your comment here. So happy you love them on first impressions, my friend. Sorry, there might be a lot of coughing on this one. So, yeah, that one's probably going to be Friday as well. Really kind of excited for that one, to crack into that one. Both of these really, I think, are going to be really cool. And then, like I said, another Yeti comb on the way. So, let's just back up. All right, one last swig of water here. So the square blanks, I don't want to say they're more dangerous. They take a lot more finesse with resin, not wood, but with resin to rough down. So those of y'all just tuning in, we are going to go at this Yeti comb. That's right, baby. We're gonna go at this Yeti comb, and first thing we gotta do is kind of rough that square blank down into a spindle. And for this, I always wear my face shield because if you don't finesse it just right, it will literally come off in chunks. What's up, Jordan? Oh, you know what? Probably need the dust collector over here. All right, we got to reformulate the camera. There we go. All right. Now, I have never done one of these honeycombs before, so this is literally a first. I've been wanting to for a couple months. Never have. So we're going to kind of find out together how this goes. Well, it's looking like a honeycomb, and it's looking pretty freaking cool so far. Alright, we're going to flip it around. This is the side where you really kind of have to finesse it down because all that mass. since it's a Yeti pour, it'll still just get a Yeti. This is the only one that'll trump. The Yeti pour with a Yeti coin is the only one that'll trump Regal Yeti. Also don't have any Regal Yeti coins made. Use the last one on Rabbit's sister's brush. Alright, now that we're pretty much down to a cylinder, then I'll just hit it like my normal. Yeah, this is gonna be cool. I'm starting to get like shape anxiety when I'm like, okay, I need to get the shape perfect. So since that one's a smooth cylinder, I'm just gonna flip it around and even this one out, and this is gonna be sterile anyways. But I'm loving this because I literally made a mold so I can repeat this. A lot of other artisans do honeycombs. 10 artisans. Oh man, my throat is not loving the Alumilite getting turned right now. The Alumilite vapors are not helping this talk. But there's a lot of other artisans that do the honeycomb deal. Pen makers, some of the other brush makers have done it. And I just always thought it was kind of cool. So I definitely wanted to figure it out, but never got around to actually like doing it till now. And the interesting part is that we'll see kind of a difference between this one's the honeycomb in this one is an actual resin casting. The one in Raider Comb is a 3D print casting. So we'll see kind of if there's nuances or how that kind of looks. We'll see. Let's get the coin hole drilled. Might take it down just another hair too to get some of those lines out. Like these top lines, those will just kind of show up. Well, then we'll just leave it and see how the drawing goes. Alright, I might actually shoot for giveaway brush shape. because I think that would accentuate the honeycomb. Or actually, I think I know what I'm gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do. I don't want to get crazy with like beads and beehives and all that kind of good stuff. I just want to show off the honeycomb pattern. So I'm gonna keep it simple. So I am gonna shorten it just a touch. Yeah, so that's a little bit cooler pattern up top. And then let's go ahead and get into it. I don't know if anybody checked out Chisel and Hounds live today, but that man is an absolute master of the craft. Just unbelievable the amount of knowledge that man possesses, and just willingness to share with other turners. Really cool. I always learn some new stuff. Today I was learning how to properly sharpen my skew chisel, which is always something that I need to work on. And likewise with the finishing too, like I just want the beehive to shine. That's the whole star of the show. So I want easy sanding, great finish. It's the first one, so if it sucks, we got something to build off of. There we go. So the good thing is, with this being the resin print, the whole thing just turns like a resin blank. So it turns like butter. Make it just a touch more.
couple little spots over here I put a little too much pressure in, so it caused a few little divots. Now I'm just trying to kind of smooth those out. Actually going to kind of flare that ferrule just a touch. What y'all think? And let me just kind of go back with that sharper square point, get some of those turning lines from that chisel. Same deal, everything I do is with the finish in mind, so trying to smooth everything out to soothe some of the sanding issues. That almost looks like spider web up top. That's really cool. So Dennis, this one I believe is around 1,500. Well, I mean I got some little bells and whistles on it, but this one's around 1,500. Yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. The last 3D print, I've done 2 3D print fusion brushes. The last 2 finished pretty well, but this being the actual resin is not, it's not 3D, it's a resin casting of the honeycomb. I'm curious to see if it finishes better. My big bad scraper. This puppy probably needs to be sharpened, but let's just see how we do with it. Yeah, this thing is super dull. I haven't sharpened this in forever. I gotta be careful because that dual rest height's getting a little low. Switch to a negative rake. Goose call, yeah, there you go. You know, I have kind of thought about getting into some game calls. My dad's a huge duck hunter. I grew up, we didn't have a dog, so I ended up, well, I didn't retrieve them, but we would go goose hunting. I would retrieve because he'd be in the cornfield. But out on the boat, duck hunting, I would be the one reaching my hand to the fridge of water, taking my lumps. But I always had a greater appreciation for duck hunting than deer hunting. And now that I turn, they sell like all the game call kits, and that's like a major thing that turners turn. But I'm still just learning, and a lot of those kits, like I'd like to do a lot of the other stuff as well. You just got to keep overhead of like a lot of the different components. Yeti comb. Yeah, he knew what he was doing. Alright. So we're probably not going to get too fancy with the coin hole. I'm just going to kind of drill it, and some of the other brush makers are way fancier with their coin holes, and look way better. I'm not going to pretend to be a professional coin hole driller, artist. Go. Probably a smidge deep on the cornhole, but I can always put a space in. No biggie. So think about that. I'm gonna hit it one more time with the negative rake, just at a higher altitude. See if we can't refine that surface a little bit more. I might need a new negative rake on this. I could try my HSS next too. This burr probably needs to be, it probably needs to be sharpened though too. Yeah, it feels way better. What's up, Dorley? What's up, Rob? Claudia? Claudio? Claudio. What's up, Aaron? Thanks, man. This one's going to be really cool. So, Aaron, we could probably do a Goku colored honeycomb. Actually, that should have been the Goku release. Yeah. They do. That's because lions and Yeti colors are very similar. But that's white, not silver. I mean, rookies reported to training camp yesterday, Rabbit. That's probably why. Some teams had rookies reporting today. Kind of crazy. Football is about a month and a half from being back. Another season I get to watch my Bills just rip my heart out of my chest. It's gonna be so fun. So, yes and no, Aaron. Cell has what? 3 colors? So the honeycomb is tough because it's really only 2 colors. I mean, I might be able to do half of a honeycomb in 1 color. Actually, that's a good idea. I'm gonna get back to you on that one. I think I just figured out a new way to make an even sicker honeycomb. Just thinking that through in my head.
So my biggest concern with this casting coming out of the mold for the honeycomb itself was that the comb lines would be too thin and that I'd want them thicker. I actually think they're pretty good width. They seem right, Aaron? Some of them are a little thicker, just the way they turned out. Like the way it literally turned, but the more that I start producing and the more that I start, I guess, evolving with my pouring skills, I guess, the more I'm starting to appreciate simpler shapes that don't have like, y'all know me, I don't think I need a ton going on with like little beads and little things, and it also just opens the door for sanding haze, and it doesn't really do the pour and the overall finish justice. So I'm liking simpler shapes kind of like this as well. What y'all think? Should we wet sand this one right now? Just get it out the way. Yep, pretty much, Jordan. I'm going to try my tool rest on this side today, and maybe that won't make me feel as claustrophobic. Oh, we got to finish the ferrule too. Yep, once I get wet sanding on the camera. Because I'm going to have to move it back and then back again. Thanks. Yeah, okay. All right. Ooh, that water is warm. Yeah, I love shapes like this. Simple, down to business, super functional, easy to sand. The easier it is to sand, the better the finish is going to be, which is kind of what I strive for anyways. What's up, Guido? What's up, King Lucero? Carlos De La Hoz Romano. Sorry, I can't read from here. I am making a shaving brush handle for traditional wet shaving. So if you're not super familiar with traditional wet shaving, it's basically how our grandfathers, grandmothers, people with shaving needs would have shaved back in the day, where you would build a lather on your face or in a bowl and then apply it to your face, and then use a straight razor, double-edged safety razor, or something of the like to shave. And this is a shaving brush handle, which you would then put a knot in, and then build your lather with this brush. If any of that strikes your fancy, there are several wet shaving YouTubers in the chat right now that can answer any questions. Really just wet shavers in general that can answer any questions you have. My channel is dedicated to wet shaving and brush making. If you like fragrances, EDP, scents, rabbit holes, learning new things, might want to check it out. Facts. All CrossFitters. But if you are a little bit more curious about it and you're a visual person, Rabbit Shaves in the chat right now. He's got a YouTube channel. I have shaving videos up. If Wes 10SC wet shaving, whiskey shave, 10SC whiskey shaving is still in here. He's got a great channel. Eric Cajun Blade is still in here. There's a bunch of guys in here that you can check out some videos to kind of do a little bit more digging on. I'm not gonna lie, the more this is finishing, the more hyped I'm getting about it. No, Josue does not have a YouTube channel. Josue prefers to remain anonymous. Yeah, I agree, Juan. And it's the way that it turned. It was turning really, really smooth. It was buttery. The way it's sanding is really, really smooth. I have a feeling this is going to finish. Like, it's going to polish really, really well, too. That's kind of why I'm getting hyped. I think I'm getting a little bit more experience under my belt to where I can start to kind of notice those little nuances, I guess. It's like my Yeti senses are tingling. This one's gonna look freaking awesome with a abominable A1 knot in it, which I actually am starting to run low on. Thanks to all of you beautiful people that have wanted to try my abominable A1 Badger knots, and the reception has been incredible. I'm a little bit of a knot snob, so if I'm gonna stock a knot, I think they're pretty good, but it doesn't really matter what I think at the end of the day. It matters the consumers, the customers that are paying their hard-earned money for it, and the reception to them from everything that y'all have told me has been awesome. So I'm really happy that y'all are loving them. And they can only get better from here, so. All right. Look at that scrumptious of that blue. Stupid comfortable. I love that shape. This is the 3D printed, or this is the poured one. So this is a resin honeycomb, resin pour in between. So this is all resin. What's up, Divine? Thanks for stopping by. So Divine, this is a wet shaving brush handle. So you would essentially take a knot, not dissimilar from this one, put a knot in the brush, and then you would build a lather with it from there. What's up, Rob? That whole thing fit. I think so. I think it fits. That came out pretty nicely. I'm pretty happy with that one. So, I don't know if anybody claimed this, but we're gonna move on to the Raiders one next. Yeah, it's a whole world of possibilities. There's some limitations, but a whole world of possibilities. All right, we get this out the way. I appreciate that y'all are cool with me wet sanding in between, because I can't tell you how much that prevents just build up. Yeah, so I always wear safety glasses. The square blanks, I actually wear face shield. I should be wearing a mask while I'm sanding, but I am not wearing a mask. All right, Barry said he wants it. I will double check the comments, but I believe Barry is the first to claim, correct?
3D print versus the resin, I probably need to be a little bit more careful roughing it down. Listen, if y'all want team theme stuff, you're talking to a guy who's worked in the league before. I got you if you want team theme colors. All right. Oh yeah, so we could do the Notre Dame thing with that for sure. Like if we did, I mean, either way, I'm thinking navy with gold, but you could do gold with navy. The fact that I was able to, so I like this one because this is casted. So casting takes more resin, so it's going to drive up the cost of the brush to the end user, to you guys. Not dramatically, $5, $10, something like that. Nothing crazy, but it's going to turn the best and it's going to polish better. But it also opens the door for different color combinations. Because if I 3D print, I'm limited to what filament colors I have. Which is, I would love to stock every filament color in the world, but it's expensive, and my situation right now is kind of like a bare bone, only what I need for the business to survive type of deal. So I can't really go out and buy 50 different pools of 3D print filaments. I mean, otherwise then I would have to like jack up the price of each of these honeycomb brushes by like $30, which I don't want to do. So, being able to cast the resin one and that being a success is really encouraging to me because I can just make it in-house as I have. Alright, we're going to use our spindle gouge to rough this one this time. Might be a little smoother, maybe not. Oh, baby. This one could get really cool really quickly. As long as I don't take chunks out of it. So I I can definitely feel a difference from how it's roughing down with the 3D print filament versus the resin cast one. I can almost feel like when I'm hitting little pockets of the 3D filament. I think I'm gonna cast another honeycomb tonight. Another resin one. And that's what I'm feeling. There's like little, like the actual like walls of it roughing down into a spindle are starting to peel off. I haven't actually turned a 3D print resin fusion blank in probably like 3 months, maybe 4. The last one I did that I sold like a month ago, the brush had already been turned. I just finished it finally. So I don't remember entirely what it feels like to turn the 3D print fusion. Alright, so it's almost down. This is what I don't like about turning resin, or 3D print casted resin. Most of the resin 3D print fusion is pen makers, and they're doing like just a very narrow cylinder with no features. So it's a little bit, the use case for the brush making is just a little different. I don't want to get too narrow up here, so I can still clamp it down to switch it. Just want to get that other square side off, which we pretty much have. This is actually going to be, it's shimmers silver, but it's almost got like some darker silver to it. This side is where the top was, so we still got to get to that. Feather this one a little bit. so that's clamped real good and hard. Raiders casting. One little flat spot. Rabbits can know that movie. Rabbit better know that movie. Alright. Flip it back around. Maybe we won't. We'll just leave it. Alright, let's see how this turns. I don't like the way that this one feels turning it compared to the last one. For sure. rough in there on that 3D print. Like that one. We're actually going 320, 220, 320. And 400. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Alright, let's get into it. Gotta be very careful with this tip right now. not perfectly round, but it's pretty close. We'll see how delicately we can kind of round it off just with this tool. Pretty close. Okay. So what concerns me is that there is flakes of the like 3D print filament that have almost gotten porous and they've started kind of like flaking off. And that, to me, there's no amount of sanding that can save that. So already like the resin casted one is gonna look way more finished. So alright, let's flip her around. That's what we're looking like. Now, if you don't mind the slightly unfinished look, it ain't gonna bother you at all. But y'all have gathered I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I'm trained to spot quality. shape's cool though. Get that coin hold before I forget. Alright, so we learned. I definitely don't love the way the 3D print looks compared to the resin one. Maybe I need to use a different filament, but boy are these expensive experiments. All right. All right, what y'all think? I'm not particularly happy with it, but the color combo is right. Boom. All right. We learned. That's the biggest thing. All right. Let's get into a third one, huh? Let's go ahead and do this Jedi one. want that one, Wes? Yeah, this one's cool. Pretty cool colors. That I can't name the colors because it'll give away my source. But this one is called. This brush is going to be called Jedi Master Yoda. Yeah. Look at that. Wes is a hell of a guy. Now this one was poured hot, so it's fine over here.
Let me get the base plate off. I'm gonna take a quick second. Just gonna sip some water, catch up on some comments. Covered in chips. My chuck is rusty because I am in Florida and my garage was 100% humidity all the time. Yeah, Wes is a hell of a guy. I'm glad that we figured out what movie it was. Oh, Mike's a Niners fan. I was hoping you were a Cardinals fan. Neither really matters to me. You're NFC, but let's see. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. What's up, Ships Wood Shop? Thanks, man. Appreciate you subscribing. Do you have a channel yourself? Yeah, I'm about done with coins for a while. I've already got, I think, 20 personas. I just gotta let it, before I know it, I'll be at 50 different coins. I don't want to get to that level. We could try the Hawthorne blank. I don't know if it'll fully turn. I did fill it. I mean, if it's got that much CA glue and it still doesn't turn into like a brush, then, I mean, it wasn't meant to be. But we could try it. Oh, awesome, Shoops. I'm going to have to, I'll subscribe when I get off the live here. I do about 65% resin turning, 35% wood turning. Yeah, that adds up to 100. I sprinkle in some wood here and there. Not as much as I used to. When I first got into turning, I did exclusively wood turning. That's how I... Oh, live tonight at 8 p.m. Central. Nice. So I guess everybody, we can make it a full turning fest. Go check out Shoop's Wood Shop tonight at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. What do you turn, Shoop? Are you guys doing like spindle turning, candlesticks, like that type of deal, or what? Nice, Johnny. Super jealous. I would like to get into like handle turning, coffee tampers, bowl turning. Very nice. Eventually, I want to get into bowls. I'm just still trying to. I've only been turning for about 6.5. What is it? July? 7.5 months, realistically. So, I do want to eventually get into bowl turning, though. Oh boy, let's see. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, it's tough because I'd have to have more use cases for a Yoda coin. Because there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to getting a new coin put together. But maybe I'll see what I can do. But I got so many coins already. I got to focus on other stuff aside from turning. With Johnny Hopkins, right, Eric? Oh, only been turning for a year. Very nice. All right. Let's get the Yoda blank turned, and then because that's already in the chuck, and I already started it. And then what time is it? 7 o'clock. And then we'll try to get this. We'll see if this Hawthorne one will turn for Josue. And Sloan Kettering, right? All right, here we go. Yeah, that's a good camera for y'all. Let me get my glasses on, turn the vacuum back on. Flip it around. Couple little like trapped air pockets down there. I think I got him that time. Oh, this one might get interesting. Okay.
to do just my little scoopsies handle shape on this one, barrel shape, I guess. And then I'm thinking, since Yoda was kind of short, maybe a little wider. She's gonna be thick on the bottom. That cutter is cutting smooth though. Still got some room. Let's go deeper. Some air bubbles. Yeah. I had a feeling, because this one was poured hot. They might sand out. That's not too bad. That green is pretty cool. It's like
The reason why I called it Jedi Master Yoda, there's like 3 tones of green in here. And one of them is like Yoda green. The other one is like Qui-Gon Jinn green. And then I can't remember what the third one was like, but look at that bottom going wild. And then that beautiful little pearlescence to it. So we're literally just gonna doorknob the crap out of this. Like, I'm not kidding, I'm gonna leave her thick. Like, this one might be a head shaver, Josue. Get some of that alcohol out. Got a little low. That could have gone badly. We're also going to do the coin hole right quick. round this off just a little bit more. I think she's done. Dang, that pour ended up really cool. Yeah, there's like a little tiny patch of like some air bubbles right there. It's nothing crazy. So I probably just discounted a little bit. Boom, how about that for a head shaver? Maybe like a quarter of an inch too tall, but honestly, that was cutting so smooth, and that last negative rake went so well. I probably don't even need to cross sand, but I'm going to. Yeah, that's freaking smooth as a baby's butt. Yeah, you like this one, Mike? Apologies if anybody joined and had questions. The way the camera angle is set up, I have not figured out my technology on my end to get a separate stream going where I can subsequently read comments. So I do apologize if I missed any questions while I was turning. Yeah, this pour came out pretty nice. I like this pour a lot. I'm not a huge green guy, but what y'all think? Jedi Master Yoda? Is the name fitting? Problem is, to get this level of color separation, it is such a tight wire to walk with the resin reaction. It's like, it's literally, you have a 45-second window between a couple of these air bubbles like this and not getting that level of separation, especially in this heat. 95-degree garage. But, I mean, Ryan Tansey, Turnings by Tansey, lived in Georgia. I mean, he had to encounter similar circumstances. I think his shop was AC. I could be wrong, but he figured his way around it and was one of the best pourers for years. So, it's all part of the learning process. Still kind of figuring it out as I go, obviously. Just trying to keep learning and getting better. All right, 7:39. All right, now we're talking real bass action. So real bass action, this is a shaving brush handle, which is made with mica powders that can also be made for soft plastics. And I'm also going to be doing a series eventually, a fish series, based on all the freshwater fish that I fish with. Mostly a bass fisherman, but I'll catch anything that bites. If Josue wants that blank turn, I'm gonna go ahead and do that Hawthorne one. It is the night before my wife's birthday, so want to get inside and spend some time with her. So, not gonna wet sand this one. Just gonna get the mandrel all drilled. Yeah, I actually have two from Bobby. So, real bass, if you are unfamiliar with traditional wet shaving, essentially you either build a lather on your face or in a bowl. You don't use the canned edge gels or foams or Barbasol, artisan shave soap, double-edged safety razor, straight razor, and basically it's a much skin-friendlier way of shaving, less irritation, less ingrown hairs, etc., etc. If you're interested, there are a number of people that can chat with you about it on here. If you would like to sprinkle in some bass fishing talk with some traditional wet shaving, go ahead and DM me on Instagram. Look at that. She's thick. What's up, Mari? What y'all think of that one? Yeah, honestly, those greens. Thank you guys. I'll wish her all the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. One more look. All right, Star Wars guys. Is that close to Yoda? And that pearlescent white is just stunner. And look at the fit in the hand. I mean, I'm just saying, baby Huey, our resident lady wet shaver, on the edge of the tub. Just saying. Spearmint Yeti, there you go. It is the same, I don't know, is Mike? Yep, Mike's still in here. The Yeti pour that Mike got, that's the same white in your Yeti pour is in that one. So it's not far off, Rabbit. I mean, talk to your brother. You part of the crew now. You gonna get called out. So once you in, you in. All right. Josue won't stop bugging me about this. Love you. If this doesn't turn into a brush now, it's not going to be a brush. So let's go ahead and get into that. Josue, you wanted just a straight jar style on this, right? You did not want like a concussion, right? Girl, you know you part of the crew. You welcome to Wet Shavers Anonymous. From what I've been told, you've got the addiction too. So you are definitely in like Flynn with the crew. Oh, actually, by the way, I just shipped your brush out this afternoon. I got to get your brother tracking info. All right, Mike wants the green one. Perfect. I will get that finished and on its way. Actually, I'm glad you're going to grab it, Mike, because that I'm curious if that's even better for you as a head shaver, that shape. So just let me know if you want to. Do you need a knot in it, Mike? Yeah, that if that's from that same kind of banger family of pores, and every one of those, like I'm gonna have to get more of those micas because everyone from that family, they literally have all finished exquisitely. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just coincidence and it was 5 really good turns in a row, but so that one's gonna finish really, really nicely. And then it's gonna explode. Mike, I mean, I guess you already have all of them. I think I have one A2 knot left, 5 or 6 A1s left, Badgers, and my Avalanche synthetics. I have plenty of synthetics. I think I have like 15 or 16 left. But other than that, y'all have blessed me that I'm actually running low on knots, and I actually have to reorder, which I was curious if I would actually have to do like 2 months ago. So thank you to you all for the support. So that's what I've got, Mike. I don't know if no pressure, but just let me know. And on that note, let's get back into this so that I can get inside. I got to figure out this tripod situation. All right. All right, I'm gonna put my face shield back on. Get the live center going. Gosh, that freaking Hawthorne is so gorgeous. All right, so we're almost squared off, or almost rounded off. Oop, tool rest got low. All right, I'm just trying to think my way through how I want to. I think we're going to stick with this as the ferrule side, just so assuming all that CA glue holds up, that'll create like some really cool kind of veining coming down the jar. And also, I believe that side is thicker, so.
Josue, what size knot? Did you want 26? See you, Wes. $26 it is. If there's one thing I know that Josue did not say, it's that he wants a 40 millimeter. It took me a while to coach him up to try a 28 millimeter. And this Hawthorne wood, I meant if y'all saw the live the other day, I mentioned it, but this actually came from my dad's property in upstate New York, which is really cool. I cut these blanks myself with him. So any of the, if you want a wood handle from me, any of the domestic hardwoods like cherry, maple, ash, I don't have much of this Hawthorne left, but I do have a few more blanks of it. They all came from his property. So it's kind of got a special place in my heart. Means a little bit more to me. You know exactly where it was sourced. I'm not buying it on a website. I'm going to switch to a wood bit. The company that makes these cutting tools is called Easy Wood Tools, and the bits that I typically use are more geared towards resin. They have like a special coating on them that cut resin a little bit better. But being that this is for Josue, our little Boricua, I am going to put a brand new wood cutter in it so that we can try to get as clean a cuts as possible. So if you would like a jar style handle from me, just know, or excuse me, domestic hardwood handle, just know there's a good chance that you're actually getting one that was from my dad's property. Well, you are going to get a handle from me from my dad's property in upstate New York. Just doing that to cut down some of the groundwork on that cutter. So, as I was saying, all the domestic hardwoods are straight from my dad's property. He is 74 years old now and still just doesn't know how to retire and spends most of his time outside and working outdoors. And spends a lot of the summer preparing for winter, so getting all of his firewood ready. Cutting down all the trees on his property and all that kind of good stuff, which is where a lot of these blanks came from, is his firewood. Yeah, that's looking pretty gorgeous. I think I might go just this. No, maybe not. I think I'm gonna leave that. Maybe we'll just taper it just a touch more. Because that ferrule is looking freaking phenomenal. So we're just gonna leave that. Let me get a break. Just gonna take this, just a little bit of frizz there that I'm just gonna kind of buzz off. That's what we're looking like right now. And this Hawthorne wood, I kind of mentioned it in the failed live the other day. It kind of grows like a weed. It's not like a traditional hardwood, like it's still a hardwood, but it's not quite as hard as like American cherry. But it's definitely dense enough to turn really well. You don't have to stabilize it, but you could. And it hold on one second. Want to make sure I do not crack that daggum ferrule. Okay. So you don't have to stabilize it, but you could. But it's really, really well known for this beautiful freaking doe skin pattern, like this doe skin kind of grain to it. And when I first started cutting blanks of it in the fall, when I started turning, well, when I was up there before I had actually started turning, I turned blanks. I went up after I started turning and then cut blanks, and immediately was like, holy cow. So I sent some of this to Bobby Moffett. I sent some of this to I believe I sent some to Rob from Chisel and Hound as well. So he's got it. And it's just freaking breathtaking. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. It's very unique. I guess it does grow near Rob in Arkansas. But I don't think he'd ever actually turned it. Actually, I am going to do the cornhole. You can always just shorten it or reduce it, but you can't take away once you put the cornhole in. You can't add once you take it away. Why that freaking Forstner must be getting really dull. I probably got to either sharpen that Forstner or just swap it out. All right. I'll put the live center back in. Ooh, boy, that wood smells awesome. Doesn't smell like a cherry wood or like anything like that, but it definitely smells like a really, almost like a fall foliage fire. And y'all northerners know exactly what I'm talking about with that. It's not, y'all can we can burn stuff down here in Florida, but it don't smell the same. All right. Couple little divots over here I gotta fix. That's pretty much all she wrote. That's it. What you think, Josue? A couple little spots I think I do want to hit with some more CA glue real quick, and then I might just negative rake them off. These are like just a couple little cracks that were concerning me, like right here. It might not even fill anything. And then my concern was not valid. But like I said, I'm still very much learning. And resin's harder to turn, easier to learn, if that makes sense. There's definitely some intricacies with resin, but it's a little bit with wood turning, it is time honored. You got to put in your time. There's so many different intricacies to like finishing wood. Well, not necessarily, finishing too, but just the turning of wood and like reading it, and like it's an art. Get y'all so you can see a little bit better. And then this, what I'm spraying on it is just CA glue accelerator, and that essentially rapid like cures the CA glue. This is shaping up to be potentially my best wood handle that I've done though. For sure. That's kind of why I'm being a little anal about it right now. And I'm waiting. One thing I'm learning with the filling with CA glue is to give it time for gravity to let it sink down into the cracks. All right, I think that's it. I just hope it's cured enough and I don't get frickin' splatter all over me or the lathe. Ask me how I know that you need to let the CA glue fully cure before you want to turn it. Otherwise, it will get all over your clothes, your lathe, and your tools. Sneak preview of what the grain's going to look like once it's finished too, by the way. What's up, Bob? What about Bob? Alright, I think I'm going to try to hit this with the negative rake. I don't want to, like, remove a ton of surface, but I do want to get, obviously, back down to where we were. Okay. Maybe I will just hit it real lightly with the well, there's no black stuff on my tool, so okay. I'm just gonna hit it now that we've got like the shells out. I'm gonna hit it one more time with that CA. Just to be sure. Look at that, there's even like a little bird's knot in there too. That's pretty cool. Alright, I think the rest is going to come out sanding. I am going to deepen the coin hole though, we might as well. Before we even start finishing, might as well just deepen it and correct it. Beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and start sanding, huh? Mask on.
600. Alright, let's go and try the other side. Saved by the belly. What's up, Matt? What's up, Mike? Talking about Bloodwood, Mike? See you, Rabbit. If I got the mask on, I don't need the vacuum on. If y'all were to ask me what the absolute, worst part about brush turning is, worst part, every maker is going to tell you two things. Number one, by far, is going to be cross sanding. Number two, sharpening your tools all the time. Alright. Here we go. We're done. She's glitched, she's slitched, she's slammed, she's sanded. Now let's get her finished, huh? What you thinking, Josue? Take this daggone mask off.
Like movie Scream up in this bee. I am gonna put some gloves on though. And my smock. Oh, this isn't gonna work with the tool rest over there. All right. Me, Big Bad Bob? I am, this water, I might need to put fresh water locks in here. Hold on a second. I gotta talk to Bobby Moffitt because my water locks, if I don't use it, it like kind of gels up. And I don't know if I'm like storing it improperly. Doesn't seem to affect the sealing as far as I know. So Bob, I've only been turning for, well, so I'm 35, about to be 36. I have only been turning since I first put a tool to a blank late October. So but realistically, like the first time I actually made something that was like feasibly like, oh, I made a brush was like middle of November. The first time that I felt comfortable, like, hey, I'm gonna go make a brush was really like mid-December. And then really when I first started making brushes that actually look like brushes was like January of this year. So, so I'm probably like 8 months in realistically. Just kind of depends on how you look at it, I guess. I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah, I am incredibly stubborn. I don't like sucking at things. So when I latch on to a new hobby like fishing or lathering, I become obsessed. And now, since this is this is not an exotic, I know that I don't have to worry about oils. So we're not going to do a CA finish, thank God, on the inside of the ferrule here. I don't know why I'm doing that. You know what? We're just going to ghost it. And baby, I can't help this feeling inside of me. And when I get that feeling, I want water like ceiling. Yeah, this just keeps clogging. Toothpick on that. Hold on 1 second now. Alright, now let me try to refill this bottle. I wonder if it's exposure to light. Maybe that's what it is. Because this definitely don't... God, they put these Yeti proof freaking caps on these freaking things. You gotta use a wrench to get the daggum. Alright, we're just gonna go a little at a time because I don't do wood brushes terribly often. And I'm curious if it's exposure to light that makes it, Alright, where were we at? Oh, that's right. And baby, I can't take this longer. This water locks is inside me. And when I get that Pharaoh, it's not gonna get any water in it. Something that good finishing does. It's getting hotter, stronger. And when I get that feeling, I don't want any water in. Something that good feeling brings. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's seal wood tonight. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's seal wood tonight. Something that good finishing brings. Honestly, I would sing the song from Ghost, but I cannot remember what. Actually, I think it's Righteous Brothers, isn't it? Bump it up a little bit higher for a little bit more friction. Oop. Ah, that's right. Unchained Melody. God, I know that song by heart. I cannot pull the lyrics off my top of my head right now. God, you've lost that loving feeling. Don't let it slip away. Baby, please, I need your love, so bring it on back. You've lost the love and feeling, now it's gone, 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 and I can't go on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Do, 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 do. Bring back that love and feeling. It's getting late in the live. I'm starting to sing to myself. Good. See, we got everybody going in now. Hey, don't be a fool. This way. Wrap your wood handles. for a nominal fee, Jordan. That's the VIP club. Abominable Creations VIP membership includes that. Wait, was Top Gun, you've lost that love and feeling? You never, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I had to think about it for a second. All right. I think that's good. Run it back. Except bourbon. I do actually, when and if my current life dilemma settles down and I get another job, I would like to get into bourbon. I just don't really know where to get started. And I don't want it to be like wood turning, where wood turning is fairly healthy. Unless you ask my wife. Where I just become obsessed about it, because now we're talking alcohol, and now we're talking like liver, hangovers, more money on another hobby. Oop. Oh, Patrick Swayze. JJ does. I was drinking Rabbit Hole, I don't know what label, at the Maggards meetup with Eric Cajun Blade, and it was going down pretty easy. So I did discover that, okay, I think I could get into bourbon. That's amazing. I've got a 106-pound silver lab. Is 112 small for a Mastiff, or is that a different breed of the big ones? I thought Mastiffs were like 200 pounds. Unless I'm thinking of a different breed. The bull Mastiffs. All right, that's it. That's all she wrote. Get this stuff out the way. There you are, Josue. Absolutely gorgeous. That Hawthorne is just breathtaking. And it is smooth as all get out. Beautiful, beautiful wood. Stuff is gorgeous, dude. Yeah, JJ, that's kind of why I wanted to leave that side the ferrule, so that you kind of had more of that veining, like running down the sides like that. Pretty cool stuff. So, like I said the other day, if this causes some, sometimes the grains raise, like overnight as all the finish is absorbing. So if it does, I'll come out and Scotch Brite it, or triple lot steel wool, or quadruple lot, actually. It's really fine. And then, but other than that, that's it. Super comfortable. All right. I got about 3 minutes for questions and to catch up on comments. Really happy that Hawthorne one actually turned out well. Because I knew when I started it the other day, it had potential to be freaking gorgeous. And I already know the wood, but yeah, that's good stuff. Good and stuffins. I'm glad that I stopped. Yeah, so old me would have kept going in the turn, screwed it up. New me is recognizing my phone's about to die. Hold on. Let me save this. Ah, saved by the bell. Okay. Way to be, Nick. At least you're here now. I literally looked at my phone. I was on 1%. We're good. So old me would have literally been kept turning that, screwed it up, been like, God, that was such a gorgeous blank. New me, learning from Bobby specifically, just stop, seal it up more. You ain't got to turn it today. And that's the result. So Nick, this is what we just turned. This is a Hawthorne wood blank. There we go. Hawthorne wood that we started the other day and finished for Josue. Gorgeous stuff. So the honeycomb I really can't do as a split pour because of the way I have to pour it. So I might be able to do like half one color, half another, but then I don't know how it would turn. So what was I thinking the other day? What I might be able to do though is the comb itself, I might be able to make it two-tone though. And then Nick, we also turned the first Yeti comb. First Yeti comb just fell. Then we also turned Raider comb. What's up, Naz? Then we turned this Yoda, Jedi Master Yoda handle. This one's got to get finished. She thick. Really cool green colors in that one. Super stupid comfortable. Great head lather shape. This one was, I believe Mike claimed this one. Mike P. And then we just finished, well, I already showed you, but for anybody else that might have just joined, we just finished this beautiful Hawthorne jar style for Josue. And Josue is also commissioned for this Paduke that's now covered in dust. So this beautiful Paduke handle that we turned the other day. And that is going to get my red Ronin Yeti coin. Bob, I think you asked. So I do everything in-house. So I make all my coins, even down to like the images, creating the images. Like I do all that stuff. Make the coin holders, like the carriers that go in them. So like the coin holders that the images go inside, I cut out all the images, place them in there. I cast all the resin over the images. All of that's done in-house. My sample cups, I make all my sample cups in-house. If you're a straight razor guy, I sell rotating straight razor racks as well. And then I also sell singular straight razor display stands as well. For like shave of the days. I use mine for drying my straight razors, but the rotating rack is really cool. It holds, I think, 8 straights at once. So all that, pretty much I try to do everything in house. Even the wood blanks. Like I said, I got a whole bundle of domestic hardwood blanks over here that I literally hand cut every single one of those. Even the exotics, some of them were easier because they already came in like square spindles, so I just had to bandsaw them and break them down a little bit. But all the exotics are all, I mean, I cut everything in-house too. All my resin pours, they're literally pours that I've come up with, that I've hand poured at my casting station. And of course, you've seen that I turn them myself as well. So, yeah. just try to be as sustainable as possible, my friend. And the coins are definitely they're tough to pull off. I'm not gonna say that they're like super frustrating because that makes it sound bad, but like in the heat with my shop being out here, I've learned so much in the past 7 months about resin casting, temperature, environment, humidity, blah, 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 blah. And it's still learning. I mean, like, as the seasons change and everything here in Florida, it's just still learning. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? What happened with that? Blah, 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 blah. So the coins, I came into this thinking they'd be the easiest thing to nail. They have been the most difficult part about everything to nail. Which is also why I would love to just do new coins all the time, but it's just not feasible. But also, I think I have like 20 coins. So, I mean, I think that's 3 times the next artisan. So we got quite a bit of variety there. Nick, how are you liking the straight razor rack, by the way? I haven't gotten a chance. I've been meaning to text you about that. Take my smock off. Try not to expose the good ones. Oh, thanks, Josue. I am not nearly as good as some of the other incredibly talented artisans in the hobby. But I will try to work as hard as them. Oh, awesome, dude. So happy you're loving it. Yeah, so if you guys are straight razor fans, if you are a straight razor shaver and you want a rotating straight razor rack, 3D printed, just get a hold of me. Even if you're not buying a brush, I'll sell them separately. Or like the singular, Nick's got a couple of those as well, the singular straight razor holders. I'll sell those individually too. Like if you just want a box of just straight razor accessories, just DM me, and we'll get you a box of that stuff, and it will still come with soap samples. So that's what I got, y'all. I need to go give my voice a rest, and it's 9:15. I gotta get in there. My wife took off the rest of the week from work, so for her birthday. So I think I got a little extra leeway tonight on running late. But she is gonna want to watch our show, I'm sure. Oh, the house looks pretty dark. Maybe she already went to bed. So that means I probably really should get inside. So, all right, gents, I'm gonna blow down real quick. Give y'all a second for questions. Blew off my shirt and I got blow off again. Oh, no problem, Josue. I'm really glad that Hawthorne one worked out. That's gorgeous. One last look at it. Starting to soak up that finish too. You can see it's like a beautiful satin. Oop. Beautiful satin. And that doe skin grain is just freaking gorgeous in it. And look at that little bird's eye knot right there. That's cool. That didn't turn out. Yeah, that's a really cool. That's a really. Oh, there's another one. Yeah, that's a good. That's a good little brush. All right, gentlemen. On that note, does anybody have any other questions? Speak now, forever hold your peace. This was a freaking long one. Holy cow. I think I went live at 5:30. We've been live for 4 hours. Golly. Time flies. We got some work done, though. We got, what, 5 handles done? 1 fully finished, a couple wet sanded. We got the honeycombs done. We learned about the honeycombs. That's the most important part. I definitely think that I don't want to do another 3D printed one. I think I want to just keep casting them, for sure. Actually, I might cast... Yeah, I might cast one before I go in the house now, for sure. So, all right, gentlemen. On that note, I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm gonna go hang out with my wife. We'll see y'all.